Hello and good evening to everyone who is watching us today. We are live on Facebook, Company Voices page. And tonight on debate night, I am stepping in for Okoto Pondo, who is not feeling well. And I'll be your host for this candid discussion. And for the first time, we are having a discussion and not just a debate, allowing more people to give in their views about the subject matter. And our motion for today is bride price promotes gender inequality and should have no place in the modern world. I don't know what is your view. I don't know what your views are. I don't know what you stand for. But do you believe that bride price is a barrier to gender inequality or a barrier to gender equality? I'd like to hear your views. Today we have a panel of experienced young and uh, uh, young, experienced people who at least know this matter and are willing to share and to shape the way for our continent and as well as the shape of the entire world. Allow me at this juncture to welcome in Stephen Omukoko, probably to kick us off in this discussion, maybe tell us what he thinks or what he believes as far as this motion is concerned. Stephen.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the basis of my argument is strictly informed by the saying that goes Mwachamila ni mtumwa. And I think that is what informs my decision to oppose this motion. And I think understanding parts of the motion is very relevant and important to us today. And the motion suggests that, first of all, bride price is a threat to gender equality, which I do not think is right and is actually misleading to claim so. But aside from that, also claiming that it is not relevant in today's world is also misinformed and unfounded. And I think the point that we will try to make today is to show the purpose of bride price and why, even in the modern world, is still relevant for us as Africans and as a people who are seeking hard to find their identity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wilda Nyagoha, I believe it's quite interesting to see a lady in this kind of a discussion saying we should do away with paying bride price. Wilda, what do you have to say? Wilda Nyagoha, if you can hear us, kindly switch on your video and share in your thoughts. I think we cannot see Wilda. I don't know whether she's struggling to. Wilda Nyagoha, kindly share your thoughts on the topic. What do you think about bride price and gender equality?
Okay, according to me, I think the payment of bride price really promotes gender inequality. Why am I really saying so? It's because we advocate for gender equality, but why should the man pay to get a woman? Yet marriage should be mutual. You see, that's why I really think bride price is really promoting gender inequality. The rest of explanation, I'll give it as we continue.
Thank you so much. There is something interesting you've said. Why should you pay? You've actually categorically said, why should you pay? I don't know whether bride price is a pay. Anyway, we will find more as we continue with this discussion. Allow me to welcome in Eric Justin, if you're on the call. What do you think about bride price and gender equality? Do you think it is a thing of the past, or we should keep on upholding our culture as the African continent, or we should rethink and consider other ways to be able to bring in people together to live together? Eric Justin, if you can hear me, kindly unmute.
Thank you, Derek. Am I clear?
Yes, you are clear.
Yeah, so thank you so much for inviting me for the discussion. So price is a token. So this is something that has been in existence for generations, and that it has become a culture for the African people. It has become a culture for other members or other societies in different parts of the world. So I don't think it is prudent to say that it has impact on gender equality, and that feminists, this is where I differ with feminists. Feminists will always talk about gender equality instead of gender equity. So it's culture, and that we should not do away with our culture. It's how things have been done. It's how we should do things. It's just like doing away with marriage, sort of. Yeah. So for me, culture, it's important that we uphold the culture.
It is important we uphold the culture, but in your submissions, I remember you have mentioned something to do with feminists. I hope they're all listening in, and I hope they're getting ready to challenge your belief about what they think and what they stand for. At this juncture, let me invite Jeremy Atambo, if you can hear me. I'd like to hear your views on the topic, whether bride price is a hindrance to gender equality. Jeremy Atambo.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you
Yes,
see
we
me?
can. Yes, we can see you clearly.
Okay, I don't think there's any gender inequality when it comes to bride price. If I, a man, wish to pay a few cows, some compensation to the family of the lady I have chosen, yeah, let me pay for her. Let me thank her parents for really bringing up such a wonderful a person into this life. Let me compensate for their troubles. But now when it comes to the part of women claiming, sorry, some women and some men claiming that when I pay, I am making this lady my slave. I want to rebuke that, and I want to say that this should be the choice of the couple. And if the man is comfortable, likewise as the woman, they should go ahead and pay this bride price. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. They should go ahead. There's something interesting you've raised, you and also Mukoko. We should keep on paying. We should keep on paying because we don't want to do away with our culture because it is part of our society. Maybe getting back to Stephen, don't you think we are in a world where women and also men who believe in feminism, where we are fighting for the equality of both sexes, we want all this gender to be equal in terms of most things, if it is possible or if it's practical. So don't you think, as somebody has raised earlier on, paying bride price is a way of buying, quote unquote, buying the woman and making her your slave and, using and taking advantage of her regardless because you have paid bride price?
Okay, thank you very much. I think even as we fight for equality, we must also be aware of what is realistic. And the reality is, as long as in African societies, the woman will leave her home to go and join a man in their home, usually for most of us, I think boys tend to stay with their parents and girls go outside. And so if we want to do away with bride price, then that is where it starts, if at all there is any correlation between bride price and gender inequality. I think what we fail to understand is that bride price is not forced marriage. You agree and you consent to marriage, and after marriage, the bride price is paid. And the reason, I think it's very important to understand the why, because when people don't understand the why, then they start questioning. That is why I want to share with you what the purpose of bride price was. The purpose of bride price, or dowry as you may call it, was first of all a show of commitment to the family that you intend to get their daughter from. You're showing them that you're committed to this daughter and you're willing to pay every price that is set for you to get that daughter. And so that commitment is very important. Today we meet people on the streets, we tell them we love them. Within 5 months you're dating, and before we know anything, the marriage is broken and it's over. But that is why such things as bride price were there to help in such situations. But just to conclude, we also have it as a show of gratitude to the family that has raised this daughter. And I think a very important point has been mentioned about compensation. The girl is living home. She has been doing several duties. She has been of great support there. And I know you cannot buy a girl. You will never afford her. It's just, it's impossible. And some of you even say this in your lines that you mean the whole world to me. But so you will not buy the girl. But what you're doing is to tell the family of this girl that we are taking your daughter and it's her right to leave home and get married. But just just to compensate with the little that we can in our capacity, please have this number of cows, which is a very valuable thing in the distant past. And right now, life is changing, and people are using money. And so that is the whole point behind dowry, to show that commitment, show gratitude, and a way of strengthening ties. If I get another chance, I will talk about other benefits and also the reason why we must defend our culture.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gideon, kindly mute. I'll quickly go to Wilda Nyagoha before I invite all other participants. Feel free to jump in whenever you feel you want to share your views, because today this is a discussion and not a debate. So Wilda Nyagoha, men are seriously defending the idea that it is a way of appreciating, compensating, and showing commitment to that marriage or that union. And you have insisted that bride price is something we should do away with if we want to liberate our women in the modern society. What do you think, or what do you have to say about that?
Okay, my brothers have just talked about bride price being a form of gratitude, appreciation to the girl's parents. Now, Omkoko has just said we should be realistic. Yes, we really have to be realistic. When you look of a typical African home, most marriages, people are not happy. You know, people are not marrying because of love. People are marrying because I'm supposed to marry this girl because she comes from this community. I have to marry this girl because the bride price was paid as I was learning. You see? Now, the reason why I'm saying bride price is promoting gender inequality is because some women have been clinched into marriages because of payment of bride price, yet they are unhappy. They can't walk out. Why? Because the fact that dowry was sent to their home, they have to stay with this man in physical abuse. Whatever thing that man will do, they have to adhere to it. Whatever decision that man does, they have to adhere to it, and they have no control of their home just because the bride price was paid. That's why I'm saying that marriage should be mutual. I don't want my parents to be appreciated, yet I'm going to suffer. You see, I don't want you as a man to come with this when the economy is very tight, to spend millions of shillings coming to appreciate my parents, yet we come, I ask you the cash for supper, the children's school fees, you tell me that you don't have money because you paid my bride price. We should be mutual. We should consider things with the current economy. Yes, bride price was very much effective during the days when our great grandparents were existing. Why? Because land was in abundance. Livestock was there, but right now, even owning a calf is an achievement. Having an 8-acre land is an achievement. So here is Omukoko. Omukoko, you don't own a land. Assuming you don't own a land, assuming you don't own a car, a house, even a calf, or a cat. Now, you're telling me that in the next 5 years, you'll be able to pay for the bride price. Yet right now, you are surviving on a budget of 50,000 a month. This is a lady who you are born with at least 3 kids. These kids should go to school. These kids should be well taken care of. Where will you get that money to pay for my bride price? Why spend 1 million shillings paying for my bride price, yet you have not built a house for your kids? Why spend 1 million buying livestock to go to my parents' place? Here they cannot even afford hay to feed the cows for the next 5 years. Let us just be realistic. I don't think bride price is really important in this generation. Thank you
so much. I have seen all the hands that have been raised. I will start with the right order. Abdul Rahman, kindly switch on your video and share your views. And then we'll proceed to Emmanuel Smile, Massive Gusa, then John Osano. Abdul, we can only see, can we see your face on that video, kindly?
Let me turn it.
Turn it, please.
A minute.
We are waiting. Emmanuel, please be on the radar. I can see Jedida Lemaron. So immediately after Emmanuel Smile, I'll give a minute to Jedida to also chip in.
Let Emmanuel go first.
Emmanuel, kindly go first as we Abdul sorts his issue out. Emmanuel Smile.
Yes, hello.
You are in a very noisy place. I don't know whether you can.
Hope you can get me right now.
Yes, can you switch on your video?
Yeah, sure. In a moment. Okay. So how are we doing?
We are good. What do you think about this topic? Do we continue with bride price or we do away with it completely in the name
Yeah,
of
just first of all, thank you very much. Just got in and I wanted first I go. I hear Wilda was talking and Hilda was talking about I don't know if first of all Hilda will get the real meaning of dowry and bride price. We are not talking about planned marriages. We are talking about paying or giving bride price. So Wilda, please get that right. We're not talking about planned marriages whereby you become a slave because you are married off without your consent. We're not talking about that. We're talking about bride price where you pay because you have agreed and you have taken out of your own will and to marry someone's lady. So the idea, we are talking about the idea of marriage. And again, just to correct Will, that we are not talking about how much you own. We are talking about the commitment you give in, the appreciation, the ratification of what marriage is in our culture, in the African culture today. We're not talking about how much land you have. So I'll come back and say again, it's not about the land, not about the cash. It's about how much, how much or how certain am I is the lady that you're going to be always providing. And there is no amount that gratifies that this is enough amount my bride price. There is no amount that gratifies. It's about how much are you willing to give to the parents, to give back to the parents. It's an appreciation. Just to give one purpose of us to continue praying bride prices because it ratifies the marriage. That is something we are missing. Today we get married and then it's a come we stay. So there is nothing really that is binding in the two of you. And then, with all the mess, you can't even go back home and say and call the elders, we need to talk. The question is, did you pay your bride price? So if you didn't pay, it's like you agreed to come together, but there wasn't any marriage. Let us correct something. Paying of bride price doesn't mean a wife becomes a slave. No, that has never been there. If it is a wife becoming a slave, that is a two people's thing. They need to talk it out. It's not about the bride price. It is not about the bride price. So let us not confuse this. The Western culture came in, and even before that, we were paying bride price. And the bride price, women were still having their position. Women were queens. Women were taking positions, roles in the community. Was there anybody taken down because some bride price was paid over them? No. So let us get that right. Thank you.
Let us get that right. Jedida Lemaron, if you can switch on your video and share your views on the matter, kindly. Jedida Lemaron, kindly, if you can hear us, please switch on your video and share your thoughts on the subject matter. As we wait for Jedida, Massive Ugutsa, are you ready so that you can give us your thoughts? You had raised up your hand. Feel free to give in your input.
Yes, I'm ready. So first of all, I would really like to disagree with Gilda. The point where you said bride price holds the lady in a marriage that they don't want to be in. Well, there's something that we're always told that if the guy hits you, come back home. If the guy does whatever to you, come back home. And like we're debating as though we're living in the centuries long ago. Well, just to let you know, we're living in the current century. And right now, if you're being hit by your husband, there's something called a police station. Go file a report or something like that. Like we're being told before you get into a marriage, you're not being held by the bride price that has been paid. You have the obligation to leave whenever you want if you're not happy in the marriage. And bride price doesn't really mean that you are supposed to stay within it. Bride price is just a form of, it's a form of, like as Stephen said, a form of appreciation. It's not a matter of you deserve it or not. It's a matter of I love you. We agreed to get married together, and because I love you, I will be willing to pay this amount to your family because you're coming to my family. You're accepting my last name. You're accepting to be part of me, right? You're accepting to be apart from your own home and come into someone else's home. So I feel like bride price has a lot of importance, especially in the current society that we're living in. It still gives marriage a purpose. It still gives, we are still maintaining the values that we are so focused on maintaining. If we are to let go of things like bride price, then why can't we let go of traditions that we are still holding on to, like marriage, right? These are very important things in our society. And I feel like if we let go of bride price, we're letting go of humanity, we're letting go of marriage in itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jedida Lemaron is back. Kindly switch on your video and share your thoughts about this discussion. Jedida.
Okay, there I am. So thank you, for giving me this opportunity to speak. So I have just listened to the discussions, and I have a couple of things to say. And the first thing is just to say, just to follow up on the conversation that I think it's Mary or the last speaker was talking about. First things first, it is not human to get married. It is not human to pay bride price, because the rest of the world are living without paying bride price, and they are human. They are living, and it is actually acceptable in other parts of the world, and they've actually stayed in marriages over 40, 50 years together. So I don't think bride price is actually the cement that keeps the marriage together. That's first. Second is, I've had most of the speakers saying about it is a form of appreciation, it is a form of commitment. But why is it that it is the man committing to be with the woman? Can't women then commit also to be with the man? Then why are you appreciating my parents for taking me to school, for bringing me up? Were you not brought up? Were you not taken to school? So why is it that it is important for the woman to be done for these things and not the other way around? So if we are talking of equality or equity, as someone was talking about, equality leads to equity, or the other way around. So we cannot say that, oh, we want to have equity, or we want to have equality if it's only the man who is supposed to pay. Then the other thing, during the visits and everything, there's a negotiation for what amount to be paid. So why do we then negotiate that? Kindly mute. I think it's sorry.
Kindly mute Osore. Kirianki Leonox, kindly mute.
So I was just saying, like, why do we have to negotiate that JD would be paid for 5 cows and not 3? Why do we have to say we need 20 cows, or we need 2? What is my value? Like, what really determines my value? Is it my education? Because if that is what then determines my values, I'd say that even for the man, he has a value. Then the last thing is that all this, I would say, as a feminist, I would say that bride price is from the patriarchal society that we have lived in for a very long time. And that is why it is for the woman to be done for this thing. So I would say that we have let go of so many things in our culture, that I think it is also important to let go of things like bride price, because we are Christians. What does the Bible say about Christianity or marriage? That the man would leave their house, and the man will leave their house, and the two will become one. They don't say that the woman will go to the man's house, or the family. So that is my take. Also, I don't have to take my husband's name. I'll be forever Lemaron and not Lemaron, that other name, because it is a choice that I have to make, and it will not make me love my partner any lesser because I don't take their name. So I think that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. One question or 2 questions she has raised is, who is or how is the lady committing to that marriage? How is that lady or the family of the lady showing appreciation to the family of the man. So it's a very important conversation here. I can see so many people are raising their hands to rebuttal or to sharing their thoughts. Allow me to welcome Manoti from Nyeri to share his views. Then now we'll go into other people who have not had an opportunity to give in their views about the same subject. As we keep on moving, ensure that we can be able to link between bride price and gender equality. Let us not just highlight the one side and forget the other bit of it. Manoti, kindly switch on your video and share your views about the motion of today.
Yeah, thank you. Allow me, first of all, to thank the whole crew for a great insights indeed. First of all, I want to oppose the motion by saying that bride price will be able to promote gender inequality, and it has no place in the world. As you know, in Africa, if you have not paid bride price, you have not married. Yeah, that's what we understand by ourselves. How do you differentiate between somebody who has told you come we stay and somebody who has not paid bride price? Honestly, are we really following our culture? At that point, we'll be risking losing our culture first, and also other practices that we have been able to practice all along. For me, pride prize is just a way of like it's a gift to the parents for one, bringing up your wife to be, and two is an appreciation to show that you are really willing to care for your wife, in that now that you get children, you become a family, yeah, all those. So when you have paid bride price, it means that you are really serious, you are able to take your roles as a man, and it's a good show between you and the other side of the family. I mean, it's like a tie. They are ties. And in fact, when we were learning in high school, you remember there are importances of being bride price. One of them, one to improve religious practices. Two is to strengthen the ties between the two families. And three, it was a way of creation of wealth. So honestly, if we don't pay bride price, where will the wealth come from on the other side of the marriage? So really, let's not be able to wash away everything. I know Wilder Wilder is not happy with me, but let's put facts on the table and say pride is really important. It's really important in that context. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
I think
Mr.
I
Were.
raised, allow me, will I give you an opportunity? I've seen Manoti raising an issue of monetizing marriage. I don't know about a case where a father has all sons and is supposed to pay bride price. We are creating a situation whereby people should be receiving and others should be giving and always giving. Anyway, at this juncture, let me read a few comments from Facebook. I can see it's Kefa Dixon saying locked in. Can't wait to hear this through. I had shared that comment earlier on. I can see Boazino Ogala says this dowry thing at some point makes women slaves. He further says black women's excuse is usually I will Sijui give birth and leave as if today's man don't wash dishes and the likes. Somebody says thank you, Jadida Malkia Lemoron. Well put. Thank you so much, Abdul. I don't know whether you've been able to fix your camera, but if not, I will give this opportunity to John Osano to share in his views about the topic. John Osano, if you can hear us, kindly switch on your video. Okay, as in case John Osano, if you're ready, let us know. If you're not, we can give this opportunity to Abdul. Abdul, please proceed. You've been on call for a long time. Please unmute your mic. Thank you. Abdul, kindly unmute.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my 2 cents. This is what I'm thinking. People have been paying bride price. It is not that we are buying off a woman. It's not that like we're exchanging the property we have with the woman. A lady leaves her home, leaves her culture, leaves her religion to go and live with a man. A man who has a different religion, a different culture, a different belief, who has been raised differently. So it's just a way of saying thank you to the parents for allowing us to take off this daughter. It is not like the lady has nothing to pay off. The lady has a lot to pay off. The sacrifice alone is a lot, more than anything else. The sacrifice of just leaving your home, leaving your family to be a member of another family. Because when a lady is married off, she becomes a member of another family. She joins another family. So I believe that is already a good commitment for a lady to make. That's my point.
Thank you so much, Abdul. It is a commitment. She's joining another family. I don't know whether the man is not joining another family, that is going to be one family between the man and the woman. Anyway, that is his thought. Kirianki Lennox, you addressed your hand earlier on. Your 1 minute starts now. Please feel free to share your thoughts about the topic.
Good. Thank you very much. I hope that you can hear me clearly, Were.
Yes, sir, we can hear you clearly.
Now, first and foremost, I want us to strike a very big difference between bride price and dowry, because I think you guys are missing the point. There's actually bride price and there's dowry. And over time, if you were to link these with gender inequality, actually we have, over time, going to the days of the Hammurabi Code, going to the days of the Torah, going to the days of these books, the Jewish law, actually. You look at the regulations that were there to regulate bride price and the payment of dowry. And actually, bride price was more of from the side of the woman, and dowry was sort of appreciation from the woman's side to the male side. And I want us to create this difference, because over time, looking at, for instance, the Mufomo report filed after the Ugandan petition, that was, I think, petition number 12 of 2007 in Uganda. They talk about the evolution of bride price over time and how it has affected the whole doctrine of marriage from ages and time immemorial. And looking at it, everything over time has come to, well, a weird conclusion, because looking at bride price, it has its pros and cons, just like everything else. And the pros is what Manoti has been talking about. Yes, appreciation and giving credit, of course, to the woman's family for the upbringing. But also, looking at the cons, didn't the groom's parent bring him up? Because I believe that these things are mutual, and the institution of love, having been there from time immemorial, we look at more so materialistic aspect of marriage as opposed to the paternal aspect. Like, we are marrying because we love each other, as opposed to we are marrying because your family can afford my bride price. Take for instance, the example of my wife, Welda. If I were to pay a bride price right now, I have to pay a mother's bride price too, because according to our culture, our mother's bride price has not been fully paid, and they have to cater for the whole thing. So I don't know where that brings in gender equity or anything of the sort, because I do believe that we are all one. We are all capable. I believe when women are out here, women like Lemaron, apparently, and I do believe Lemaron, that Lemaron is actually your father's name, so I don't know if your father is not a man. But at the end of the day, looking at it, we still have that difference, that gap that comes in, because women are out here every day complaining about the two-third gender rule, about how they have to be represented in parliament and everything of the sort. And yet, when it comes to this other doctrine of marriage, they want to cow out. They want to show that they are the inferior part in this category, in this society. Now, how do you carry out? It's okay. You have been brought up. We have paid for your school fees. You're coming to a whole new family. But nowadays, I believe that instead of marrying the idea that bride price should always come one-sided, how about we introduce the idea of bride price and dowry, in that, for instance, in the middle community, there's the giving of gourds with porridge to the bride's family, and then the bride's family comes back with gifts after the giving of the gourds, the porridge gourds. They come back with gifts to the groom's family as appreciation. The whole thing from time immemorial was all about exchange of gifts to create that mutual relationship and that mutual bond between the families. And if that's what we are trying to run away from then and introduce this weird mystical idea that bride price should be one way, then I believe that we are missing the point. I believe that we are going far away, and we all have to like come back and see the actual picture. Because if we all were to say that it's okay, bride price should only come from the man, especially in the modern world, as we're talking about today, then everything will be amiss, because we'll never solve the issues that we have today, and we'll never like actually come to a conclusion. Gender inequality then will always be a problem, and we're not going to solve anything by doing this. How about we exchange gifts? How about we come together and create this mutual bond as families? And that will be good for everybody else, I do believe.
Thank you so much, Lennox. There is a big issue we are running away from, the elephant in the room. For those of you who believe that we should keep on paying bride price, how does it bring about gender equality? That is the question we need to answer as we come. And for those who are going to be given an opportunity, try to tell us how paying bride price completes or makes a society which is gender equal. So I'll give this opportunity to Christine Musandu to share her views on this platform, what she thinks about this issue. She's one senior lady to us, and I believe she must have seen more than we have, and maybe she has a few things to highlight to maybe guide the whole conversation in the second bit of it. Christine Musando, if you can hear us, please switch on your video and share your thoughts on the same issue.
Good evening. My phone is actually on its way to going off, but I'll try to just be brief. Basically, for me, I think it is necessary because it is a way of commitment. It is a way of showing respect to a family of a lady that, yes, I've come for your daughter and I'm willing to take care of her, because the challenge here normally is, the challenge here, it is the lady who is leaving to go, leaving her family to go to another family, you see? So for me, I believe bride price is necessary, and I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't refute the fact, I wouldn't say that it's about tradition or being modern or not being modern, because the culture aspect doesn't come here. Because even the lady, where she's going, there are traditions or cultures of the certain tribe where she's going, she still has to follow. She'll still have to follow the rules and the laws there. So to me, bride price is necessary. It's, as I've stated, it's a way of commitment. It's a way of showing respect to the lady, and also to the parents, the family of the lady.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think at this juncture, I've seen a very heated discussion on the chat box between different people here on the panel, whether the woman should change her name to that of the man or not. I don't know whether Steve Macau, if you're on this call, kindly feel free to share your thoughts about this and tell us what you think about bride price and gender inequality.
Mr. Were?
Allow me to first of all give this opportunity to Stephen Macau, please.
Okay.
If you're on the call, kindly.
Well, I think it's an interesting discussion that I'm hearing here. First of all, I think we need to, I think they keep on saying to us that Mwachamila ni mtumwa. We are growing up in a cultural context where we are coming from. And I think paying the bride price, and I think I like the speaker who said we should differentiate the bride price and dowry. most of us here are confusing the two things together, and hence our discussion is not really informed. I think it's also very good for us to really do research as to why bride price and dowry was paid in the African culture, or even just say in the Eastern communities or Eastern religion. This issue of feminism and the rest has just come in the recent years. We cannot come up and now say that we need to lose our cultures for the sake of something feminine. Those also who are of the feminine and those who are borrowing the cultures from the Western world, there's also a ceremony called the man going to ask for the hand of the girl in marriage. You need to research and ask yourself, what does that entail in that context? And you'll find that there are similarities between the African culture and even those other things. Bride price is not purchasing a woman. You cannot, and there's no much money and how much money you can buy a person. But like my sister who has said, it's this idea of just appreciating the parents who are there. Dowry, if you dig deeper, dowry was being paid so that in case the man died and the children were left and the woman was left, that bride price paid to the family will take care of the lady and the children. So I think it's also good for us to look very informed as we do some discussions, and not just say things we have heard in weddings or we have heard rumor hearsays and such ceremonies. So I think for us it is something that we need to rethink and work on. So even as we discuss factual things that we think and have been researched. Let me talk about the issue of the changing of name. You want to get to come in your own terms. If you want to get married, you don't come with your own terms. But I think there's a way we must sit down and agree to some point. How can I marry a lady and have even
Steve,
Hello?
we are losing you. Yeah, we can hear you. Mr. Steve, kindly proceed. We can hear you. Steve Macau, if you can hear us, kindly proceed with your submission. Seems we have lost him. Steve Mkoko, I'll give you a minute. How does paying bride price bring about gender equality in a marriage setup?
Okay, thank you very kindly. I think I will extend a little bit because I think initially I thought this was a debate and I prepared for the 5 minutes, and that's how I had structured my argument. But I won't extend for a long time if you allow, please. I think there are many things that have been mentioned, but I just want to bring it out clear that equality does not mean similarity. And when Lemaron spoke, I thought sometimes equality does not mean that women now need beards or men have to carry children in their stomachs and bellies. That will not be realistic. And so in as much as we strive for equality, in as much as we want a level ground, we want to appreciate our differences and work together as human beings to bring those differences on the table and bring the best out of humanity. And I think that is the goal of any person who genuinely cares about equality. And equality is not about trivial things like what your name looks like. And she questioned why women cannot pay bride price, and I don't think there's any restriction whatsoever on whether you can pay bride price or not. The reason why we vehemently defend bride price is because we appreciate that as a people, we need to maintain our culture. Modernization does not mean westernization. We don't have to take all the values that they have. Telling us that we have people from the Western world who marry without bride price is a sense lack of self-esteem from your own identity as a person. And that is why your culture needs to be maintained. It needs to be respected as an individual. And that is why we must strive so hard to defend the remaining structures and fragments of our culture from the erosion that has been happening for the last 200 years. Even the wars that we wage today between men and women are wars that we have all imported from other parts of the world. We need to understand our problems as a people and solve them using our own needs and fine tune everything that we face in our world right now in a way that is African and in a way that speaks for us. Remember, there's nothing else that makes us Africans. It's not our blackness. Not all black people identify as Africans. It's not that we come from Africa that we are Africans. Every human being came from Africa. That is the cradle of mankind. That is where humanity was conceived. It is our culture that identifies us. And if we cannot be identified by our culture, if we lose every part of our culture, then we become irrelevant beings and we have to borrow everything. When they fight with their men and women, we start fighting as well. When they get it wrong somewhere, we start doing it as well. We must start thinking in African ways first, and we can modernize while Africanize. That it doesn't mean that if you're modern, you're Western. No, that is not the way to go. We can get all these things done and maintain our strong cultures. And then finally, I think the other thing we're missing is that the purpose of bride price extends just beyond gratitude, commitment, and a way of just showing that appreciation. It also goes to encouraging responsibility among men. It goes to strengthening the ties between the two families that are involved. And this is how our social structures have been working. You tell us they're not working, and we see this wild concept called love continue to break hearts of young people who are now depressed and they cannot deal with the many situations they find. But our society had structures that trained men and women to become responsible adults who will make society work and operate. And that is why I think it's very important that before we dismiss every aspect of our culture, we need to also assess and carefully see the benefits that came with it, and that will make a significant difference in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Something I've noted from you is modernization is not westernization. At this juncture, I'll give 2 minutes to Okoth, then I'll jump into Francis Mutoni. He has been on the call. I'll allow him to share his thoughts. Okoth Opondo, please, your 2 minutes starts now.
Thank you very kindly, Derek. Can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you. I think even on a deathbed, I'll keep on debating. I had chosen today not to participate in this debate, but there are people here who are really, really annoying on how they are viewing this whole issue. So let me tell you where my stand on this topic is, and maybe it's just good that so that I can participate instead of moderating. If you look at how bride price is viewed in this modern world, honestly, if you ever accompanied your friend to go negotiate for a bride price, you'll totally hate how things are being practiced nowadays. I completely agree with the Mukoko that we don't need to erase everything. But the challenge is that there's too much capitalism in everything that we are doing, that to the point nowadays you go to negotiate for the bride price and the things you are told totally do not even add up. So you'll be told, okay, fine, the lady will be told to sit out. You'll be there with the elders and they'll start calculating literally everything that their daughter has consumed or as all the expenditure that they've spent on their daughter. So you'll be told this is the amount of money it costs that they spend on taking the girl to school. This is the amount of money they did. So then you wonder, are you buying somebody, or are you literally here to appreciate the fact that people raised a daughter? Which is fine, because traditionally it was a form of appreciation. And also traditionally, let's also accept that traditionally it was Opondo going out to take Wilda and bringing Wilda to Opondo's home. Nowadays, that is not how it happens. Immediately after marriage, we all go our ways. And nowadays, sometimes even my parents don't have land or even a house where I can live. So immediately after marriage, I go my way, I take the girl and we head our direction. So in as much as, yes, we want to say that let us not erase everything about our culture, the truth of the matter here is that there is what is happening and then there's what should be happening. Now the discussion we are having here is what should be happening versus what is actually happening. A woman, when a woman's bride price has been paid, think of the traditional African man and how they behave. Most of the time, you'll be told that if you are living with an abusive man, you do not have the right or the power to leave that home simply because the man has paid for your price. So whenever you want to, whenever you think of pulling out, Derek, can you just add me a minute? Whenever you think of pulling out of this marriage, your mom will call you and your dad will call you and the elders will call you and sit you down and tell you, remember, he paid for this price. And sometimes the price can even be asked back for you to be left free. So then you wonder, is it slavery or are we starting a relationship? So if we have to keep on with this culture, then I think we have to come back to the drawing board and rethink about the terms and redefine what this price is, even to the young men of today, to know that you are not buying a woman, you are appreciating. And if you have to appreciate, if needs be, I totally still agree with all, even those who think that let maybe appreciation be both sides. But if you have to keep it, the appreciation to be on one side, then definitely let us redefine these terms, let young men understand what is happening, or else in the near future, we will keep on treating marriage as slavery. Thank you, Derek.
In the near future, we'll keep on treating marriage as slavery. Frank Mutoni, if you're on the call, kindly proceed and share your views about this motion. Frank Mutoni. Kindly unmute. You're on mute.
Yes, well, I hope you're getting me now.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, number one, what I can say, if it's about bride price, now, number one, the moment we are calling it bride price, it means that we are paying for something. The price is representing an object being bought. It's appreciation. Let it be that the man will just give whatever he has. Like there should be no negotiations. Whenever there are negotiations, that means that we are paying for an object. So that's why when we marry these ladies, and parents nowadays are making this thing look like it's business because they're asking for too much. And I think they have also, how do I put it? They have also made their daughters that whenever you don't pay the bride price, their daughters become like, should I say, tough-headed in the house? Like, even if you tell the daughter something, you'll hear saying, usifanyishe vile kazi kama punda hapa na like hujalipa kitu yote kwetu. So we made this thing like look like a business. That's why I can say, what I can say is that we should do away with the bride price so that let's the appreciation. Let's make it that the man will give what he has, what he is willing to give, not like negotiation should not be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think at this moment I'll give a minute to Steve Macau. You were giving your sentiments before you were disconnected. You were trying to convince us, rather to tell us the difference between bride price and dowry. Maybe those who are following this conversation would like to know what is the difference between bride price and dowry. And number two, how does paying of bride price bring about equality in a marriage? Or do you think equality is nothing to do as far as marriage is concerned? Stephen Macau.
Sorry for that disconnection. Mine is just simple to say that I think, for me, my understanding is that bride price is a sum of money or quantity of money or goods given to a bride's family of that groom. For example, I can say that I want to appreciate my this family by this amount of kabahasha or penda kabahasha, whatever amount of money. I think it is not pegged down to how much it is. I think you just give whatever the young man feels they're going to give. Dowry, I think, on the other hand, also is quantity of goods, and they're calculated. And I think some of these things, if you look at culturally why they were given, they were supposed to ensure the marriage works. They were like a security to so that you can work hard for that marriage. And I don't think it is wrong just because some families or where you went to, people have gone against the culture and they have flawed it for us to throw it. I keep asking, even in this debate, are there good things at the dowry price and the bride price and dowry that we can pick as young people to help us move on with our lives? So I think the discussion is very good, and I think we just need to work it out and like say that people will count even millions. But from where I come from let me say, I'm very proud that I paid bride price for my wife, and I don't regret it. If I'll be asked again, I will pay. I think also real men is to start to stand out and be counted. Real men, he face challenges and he face all those things. So I think for me, I have no problem with dowry payment. I have no problem with bride price. I paid mine, and if I'll ask again, I will pay. Let me stop there for today.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, I'll go back to Jedida Lemaron. You're bringing in the aspect of men being liberated and women being liberated, as well as a patriarchal society where men are being undermined and are forced to look as people who are forced to give in more than they're receiving. What do you have to say about what other speakers have said as far as gender equality is concerned?
Thank you. So I really love what Opondo said, because that is where actually the problem is. And as I just put in the comment box, I was just saying that I am not opposed to bride price or dowry. What I'm opposed to is that we've really objectified bride price to be about the woman. The fact that, and I think I was just clearly putting it, if today I tell you, Derek, that, okay, we are in this thing that, okay, now it's a mutual relationship, I want to pay dowry for you, then you change your name to take my name, would you take it? Why? Because we have been groomed. Please Google groomed, what grooming is. You were born, you got that this thing was done, and now you want to continuously do it because that is what you have found being done. But I want us to get out of it and see if today I tell you to, okay, I'm paying your bride price, then this is what you will do and this is what you will do. Will you take it as a man if I'm to pay your dowry? So my thinking really is that let's look at bride price not as us buying the girls, and you've now even seen the memes of wewe uliexchangiwa na ng'ombe ngapi, you know, because that is actually what it is. And this is what I keep on saying about feminism and just getting out of the whole bride price issue is feminism wants equal for both men and women. And that's why for me, if you take me out today, I will ask to pay for the bill. That will be a whole different conversation again. But it is because for me, it is an equal playground. Yes, I know that you are the man. Yes, I will submit to you. But no, I don't want to be treated as a lesser being. So with that, I just say that, yes, pay for my bride price, but do not go into negotiations for what you want to pay for me. Just pay what you think I am worth, but also would you allow me to do the same thing for you? The last speaker was saying that he is proud. I want to also be proud that I paid dowry for my husband. Would you accept that? Why? Because we think it's African, and that is the question. That is the question. And also, as I was saying in the chat box, probably just to finish this, is who chooses what is to be dropped and what is to be left as culture? Because, for example, in Maasai land, we are fighting FGM. We are fighting all these things that we quote unquote call harmful practices. Was it harmful when it started? But why is bride price not harmful? So what do we choose to say, now today we are wearing all these Turkish suits and everything, we wear cotton, pure cotton and all that. Why don't we go back to our skins and everything? And why are we using technology? Why did we stop using smoke signs and horns and all that? Where do we draw the line to say that this is African and this is not? I know someone said about westernization and all that, but let's be true. Let's stop burying our heads in the sand and just wake up to the reality. We've been groomed. We don't know anything else. And until we start learning to learn new things, then we will see the world in a totally different way. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wilda, kindly allow me to speak. I know you want to say something, but for the interest of time, we may not.
I just want to say something.
In 30 seconds. In 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds too.
No, even if I wish to be paid bride price, nobody will ever come to my home to pay for my bride price. Why am I saying so? I've been raised by my grandmother and mother solely. My father was never there in my life. Now I asked my mother, okay, in case any man comes and wants to pay my bride price, where will the man go to? My mom said that I will have to go and search for my uncles and my father in order for my bride price to be paid. Now you're talking about bride price being appreciation. Okay. Why should I appreciate my father who was never there from the day I was born till now, and instead leave my mother who has always been there, catered for my school fees and everything? Who knows what are the clothes I'm wearing, the school I'm going to? You see, the problem is that this culture is suppressing some of us. Okay, a man will come in my life wanting to pay for my bride price, but it's quite unfortunate because even my grandmother was buried in her own land. Why? Bride price was never paid. I'm going to bury my mother in the land she bought. Why? Because she was never paid bride price. Same to me. I'll be buried in the land I will buy because I was never paid for the bride price. Why? Because it started with my grandmother. Because my grandmother was never paid for bride price. Same to my mother. Now I'm the one who has to pay for it. I think my man should appreciate my mother and my grandmother for raising me, rather than for me going to the central province looking for my father wherever he is, I don't know, so that he can take the livestock, which he never knew. Even he doesn't know where the man came from. You see? So this culture is really costing us. And you guys should thank God because you came from decent homes. At least you know these things. You have seen your sisters getting paid bride price. But for my family, it has never been that way. So this culture is surprising some of us.
Thank you so much, Wilda. Thank you so much. At this juncture, I know Manot, you have something to say, but I'm really sorry I cannot allow you to add anything at this point. I know this conversation has been heated, whether we should keep on paying bride price and whether we should consider marriage as a way of, whether we should keep on paying bride price and whether it is bringing unity and equality in any marriage setup. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of this candid discussion. I hope you have learned a thing or two. To all our followers on Facebook, I hope you guys have been able to learn a thing or two. Next week on our discussion is going to be an interesting one, and I know you won't manage to miss this one. We're going to discuss about NGOs versus dependence versus poverty in the slums. Do you think slums are living under abject poverty because of the existing non-governmental organizations, or if you think there are other limiting factors that make people continue to be in abject poverty? I hope you're going to join us for this kind of discussion. To everyone who has been part of this discussion, much appreciation from Kamdi Voices and much appreciation from me. My name has been Derek Were and is still going to be Derek Were. I've been your host for today, and have a lovely night.